YOLO, and welcome back to the next episode of our collaboration miniseries. I'm super stoked because we have another new first-time guest to the channel. The one, the only, Tfish. Link to his channel will be in the description below. Not only is he part of this collaboration miniseries and answered the 13 questions that I sent over to him, he also is in this game. That's right, the second player in this game is Tfish himself. We played for about an hour or so a couple weeks ago and recorded content. So massive shout out to you, Tfish. Thank you. But with all that out of the way, let's have Tyler go ahead and get into it.
Hi, so my name is Tyler, or Tfish. You guys might know me from my YouTube channel. So I am a content creator doing similar type content with Call of Duty or gaming stuff in the background, talking mostly on self-improvement and modern society in general, with a little bit of finance stuff, though not quite as good as Alex here. So you guys can check me out on my channel. I am Tfish. Got a couple questions I'm going to answer for Alex here. Let's get to it. Question number 1. It is estimated that most men have less than 5 friends, and out of that, only 2 close friends. So from what I see in my daily life, do I believe that to be true? I do, actually. I believe with the modern world and our access to social media, which is kind of contradictory to what we're doing here, making content for social media. I think a lot of relationships are surface level. So a lot of people, I would say, have acquaintances. I would say more than likely they just have a vast amount of acquaintances. I can probably rattle off 3 friends of mine, and they're all close friends of mine, and maybe one actual friend that I would consider a friend that isn't a legitimate, like, general acquaintance that I know in my life. So I think the surface level thing is a hard thing for a lot of people to overcome, because it's so much easier just to have an acquaintance that you do certain activities with. I have tons of acquaintances that I play basketball with, or that I train different sports with. So I think it's a lot easier to have these surface level relationships, which makes it difficult to have true meaningful friendships. What do you think, question number 2, I'm sorry. What do you think is more important, quality or quantity of friends when it comes to men's mental health? I really think that depends on the man. I think the general answer should be quality, but there's a lot of people that value that quantity of friendships, having people that they could do any different activity that their heart desires available to do it with. Listen, if you have 3 close friends and you guys all have differing interests, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you to have somebody do anything you want to try with. But if you have 40 or 50 different friends or acquaintances, it becomes a little bit easier. I personally think that quality is a more important trait in friendships. People that stand the test of time and are good people to be around, because you are the average of the top 5 people you hang around. Question number 3. Many men feel disconnected and lonely nowadays. Without a sense of purpose or community, do you think online friends can count as real friends for combating this, or does only IRL friends count? So I think yes and no. I think depending on how you manage your life, online friends are completely real. I have friends of mine that they spend most of their time in a Discord community, and that works wonderfully for them. I think it is a valuable thing. However, real human interaction is good for the brain. There's actual science behind it that helps develop deeper relationships having people in real life. So I think it's possible to have good connections with online friends? Yeah, 100%. And it could help with feeling lonely having somebody readily available to talk to. However, I think having real friends in real life, probably a little bit better of a situation, just because there's science behind the human interaction, human touch, just like giving somebody a high five or a hug, releases serotonin, reduces stress. It actually helps develop true real relationships. Not saying online is different, but it is different. It's still good, just not as good scientifically as real human interaction. 4. How many friends do you have, and at what point does a friend cross over into becoming a brother? So I think a lot of it is less about time in and more about shared experience. If you go through something significant with somebody else, like a lot of my friends that I consider my brothers, I've 3 kind of close friends. 2 of them I would say that they're my brothers. We've been through some shit, and those friendships range from 11, 28 now, so 17 years all the way up to 22 years. That those 3 friends kind of encompass those length of times. I have other friends, but if we're talking about close friends, it's those 3 really. And I'd consider most of them, probably all of them, my brothers, just because of shared experience. You could be friends with somebody for 20, 25, 30, 45 years, and you'll have a good friendship. but going through some hard shit together, I think, is what makes you cross that boundary or cross that line and become, more than friends and become closer to family. 5, what's your longest friendship and why has it lasted this long? Is it just because of history or shared interests and goals? So it's both for me. Like I said, I met somebody when I was 5 or 6. I think I was 5 turning 6 shortly after that. So call it 22, 23 years, as I'm 28 now. And we grew up together. Obviously, I was 6. And then we wanted to make YouTube videos together when we were in high school, so we did that. We both wanted to play competitive Call of Duty, so we did that. And for a little while there, we both had a shared interest in basketball, so we did that a little bit together. So there was, a lot of some shared interest and a lot of shared history, just being friends for forever. Growing up and like doing Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! When we're 9, 10, 11, all the way up to basketball and Call of Duty and YouTube videos. Number 6. As we grow older and time passes, friendships will fade. What are some of the signs to look out for to know that a friendship will stand the test of time? It's hard to say because it's really specific to your individual situation. Like I said, shared experience is usually a pretty big indicator, but even some of these guys those 3 guys that I mentioned, it gets harder to maintain that friendship. One of them has a kid, the other one is not very social media adept, I would say. And the other one's just super busy. Like, we all have our own lives. We'll be able to pick up wherever we left off, but it's really just kind of the significance of the events that you go through and seeing how it comes out on the other side. But the biggest thing for friendships to stand the test of time, I think, is you get to choose, right? Like, I always stand by, you could live your life by emotion, right? You could say that, you're in love, but eventually emotions fade and it becomes a conscious choice. So you get to choose your person every day. I one day could wake up and choose that this is not a friendship or a relationship that's good for me, and they could do the same, right? It works both ways. But choosing to be there whenever they need it or vice versa, or choosing to be able to pick up wherever we left off without holding that grudge is usually, a good sign. That doesn't happen with everybody. I'm this way with these guys, but am I that way with everybody? Probably not. And that's okay. And there's people out there that are the same with me. Sometimes you can't pick up with everybody. So if you have that ability where you can go a couple months without anybody or without talking to them, there's a good chance that it'll last for a while because you guys can go 6 months, a year without needing to talk every week. Number 7, when do you think it's better to let go of a friendship rather than to hold on to one? This one's actually pretty easy for me. It's when you have more bad days than you have good days. If you guys hang out 10 days a year and those 10 days are good days, cool. And then it goes to 9, cool. Gets all the way down to like 4, maybe 3, 2 or 3 good days is probably time to start looking at why are they bad days. First off, are you guys arguing? Are you guys fighting? Do you just not enjoy spending time with that person anymore? Are you not growing? Are you not learning? Why are there bad days? See if you could adjust it. But usually when out of 10 or whatever amount of days that you see this person, if you have more bad days with them than you do have good days, it's probably time to consider letting go of something for whatever the negative reasons are. And don't let it be petty reasons. Life happens. Like if you have 2 bad days in a row, it's not time to call it quits. You need to look at the relationship as a whole and see, are we as a whole having more bad days than good days in our relationship or friendship? Number 8, it's difficult making friends. Everybody's a stranger until you get to know them. For guys in their 20s navigating our modern world, where would I suggest finding new friends? That's actually kind of simple-ish. You already know what you like as a person. You just need to find the in-person version of that event. So like for me, I like basketball. Well, the easiest thing to do is sign up for a rec league or go to a park. I have a couple of acquaintances that I met just showing up at a park. And those could develop into probably wonderful relationships if we put the work in. Another thing I like to do is jiu-jitsu. I knew that I needed to find a gym when I came down here with good guys that I can compete with and try hard every week. And that was another thing that I was able to develop good, what some of them would be what I call friendships. We talk outside of class and we're genuine friends. We can exchange thoughts about music and life and have good, not what I would call acquaintances, but like a basic level of friendship. So find what you like, and for a lot of people it's video games. So there's video game clubs. You just got to find bigger cities. So like if you're outside of a bigger city, sometimes you're going to have to go there. For me, I live in a relatively big city, but if I wanted to get involved in bigger events, Wilmington, I live in Delaware. Wilmington's not too far away from me where it could be a feasible thing where I can go to events and meet people that way. So if you already know what you like, just find it in real life. Number 9. What would you say are 3 psychological benefits of friends, or 3 personal things you've learned from your friendship with your friends? First thing I learned from one of my buddies, shared history trumps a lot of differences. I have a friend, love him to death. I've known him for 17 years, 18 years, something like that. One of those guys I mentioned earlier that I would consider a brother. And outside of Call of Duty, there's really not a whole lot there that we are super in common of. We have some overlap in music, some overlap in sports, but it's really like we care enough about each other to care about the interests of the other ones. So shared history trumps a lot of differences in life. The second thing I learned actually was the picking up where you left off. I had a friend right out of high school join the Marines. For whatever reason, I sent a text after his phone went dead when he turned it off when he was going into boot camp that delivered the day he got out and turned his phone back on. And he called me like immediately. And nothing changed for 12, like he was gone for 12 weeks. And then while he was there, he was stationed in different countries and it made it hard to talk to him. So there were months where we didn't talk and nothing ever felt different when we picked back up. So shared history trumps a lot of differences, especially if you care about the other person, and being able to pick back up after time is huge. The third thing I learned from another friend of mine, who I'm not necessarily super friends with now, is if you got to put too much work into it, it's probably not worth. Like I said, that's where I learned the good day, bad day thing. We were having more bad days than we were having good days, and now we don't talk at all. And that's okay. I hope they're doing well. I don't know if they hope I'm doing well, but that's not my concern. I hope they're doing good. Number 10. There's a saying I like, Alex likes. It goes, blood is thicker than water, indicating that family ties are stronger than anything else. However, this is not the original meaning of the quote. The original quote is, the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb, which indicates the blood of a deal, a partnership, or a holy union is stronger than any familiar ties. Do you think the people we choose as our friends could be stronger connections and bonds than we are related to? This is true, I think, personally. There are a lot of people. I was raised where family was family, and you went to bat for your family every time. But I realized that became very situational, and your family actually is the people that go to bat for you when you go to bat for them. It's a connection. It's a relationship that you build. There are people in that group of 3 people that would go to bat for me over legitimate blood family members that I don't even have relationships with anymore, and they are the ones that stopped talking to me. That's something I didn't even do. I had an incident when I was growing up. My parents got divorced, and I had people on both sides of the family that stopped talking to me altogether. And I was a kid. I had no idea what was going on. I was 15, 16-year-old, maybe not a kid, teenager. And somehow I was held in contempt for something that I actually had nothing to do with. But I had friends that would argue with people when I'm not around. They have my back regardless. And you hear about it secondhand, or sometimes you don't hear about it at all. But there's just things about these people that are willing to go to bat for you. So yes, I think, I would choose my wife over family members that I'm blood related to. I would choose these friends over family members that I'm blood related to. There are a handful of people that I think outweigh those familiar bonds. Or familiar ties, I mean. Number 11, funny enough, they say we are the sum of the 5 people we hang with most. Based off of that, would you say your friends are the kind of people you would want to be in 10 to 15 years from now? I would say yes, because for the most part, my friends are good, honest people. Whether or not you want to value financial success or whatever you want to call it, my friends are good, honest people, non-offended people. They are truthful regardless of the situation, and that's what I value. Good, honest, hardworking people in my life. We could make billions of dollars tomorrow, and those core principles and values don't really change. Actually, they say money just amplifies who you already are. So if we rolled up on $1 billion tomorrow, the group of us, we're still going to be the same people, just, with a lot of fucking money. And I would want to be around those people for the rest of my life. Number 12, the prisoner's dilemma. You and your friend have both been arrested and are being questioned by the police for tax evasion, is what he has in here. They've offered you a special deal where if you throw your friend under the bus, you'll get 0 jail time and he goes to jail for 25 years. If he throws you under the bus, I'll be in jail for 25. If neither of you throws each other under the bus, you both escape scot-free. However, you both try to throw each other under the bus. If you both try to throw each other on the bus, you both get life without parole. Based on the scenario and your knowledge of friends, who would you pick to be in this with you, and would you both get out? I have a friend who's named Joe, which is a very generic name, which works wonderful for stories. Yeah, 100%. We've been in situations where we've been questioned for activities in connection to each other. Not illegal activities, don't get me wrong, but under any pressure, we're fine. He was the Marine, and I truly think he has my back regardless of any situation. And we both been put in situations where we've been able to compromise the other person in relationships or whatever, and it's never come to that I'm aware of. And you hear about that shit at some point, especially after 18 years. So yeah, I would pick probably him just because he has that kind of mindset. There are other factors, other things that people could lean on my other friends, and I'd hold no issue with what they're doing. But I know him 100%. It's got my back regardless. Question number 13. Lastly, if you had to give some advice to guys who are struggling in their late teens to early 20s and looking for that sense of purpose and brotherhood, what would you say? Learn to fight. You get a lot farther along in the relationship building phase when somebody's trying to choke you out or punch you in the face. It sounds insanely stupid, and I get that, but I have developed, even if they're basic level friendships, right? I've developed basic level friendships with people that invite me out to do things and invite me around to events to do things, and I've gone to tournaments with these guys and sitting in a group of 8 to 10 guys that we all have the same goal, it's all the same purpose. It's like playing on a sports team when you're in school. So if you're still in high school, like the late teens section, 17, 18, whatever, join a team. Get involved in some kind of team sport. Now, fighting is a little bit different because it's a one-on-one sport, but the guys you train with give you that brotherhood that you need. And purpose is something that you kind of have to find along the way. But the beautiful thing about finding brotherhood, right, is if you have a group of 5 to 10 guys, and I say 5 to 10 because, classes are usually 10 to 15 people. You're going to end up being close with a couple of them. If you have a group of people, they're all going to have different, it's called rolling. It's live sparring in jiu-jitsu, but it's called rolling. I roll with prison guards to counselors. That is a legitimate jump that I make. I roll with 3 or 4 prison guards, a couple police officers, a couple wrestling coaches, a couple background check guys, construction workers, office workers. I'm an office worker. Truck drivers, all the way to fucking counselors for elementary school. And they could all teach you something different. And all you do is you take that piece of information that they give you and you go, is this something I want to apply to my life? And you try it. And you get time in, and then you figure out if that's for you or for not. And if it's not, then you move on to the next thing, and you'll find your purpose eventually. But the brotherhood really helps build that foundation of being willing to try shit and having people that'll walk you through the basics of it. So maybe you could skip the line of the initial struggle of trying to figure out if it even is for you. But for the brotherhood part, learn how to fight, join a team sport, do something like that. I wouldn't recommend rec league sports if you're 21. Don't go join a rec league basketball team. That's over in 8 weeks. You're not going to build any relationship. But if you're at class twice a week for a year, you're going to build some kind of relationship and group in that class. Probably the guys that you started with, that's going to build some kind of brotherhood. And you could ask them a million questions. I get asked about my job from kids that are 21 years old. And I can tell them my piece of advice, and they can take that and go with it if they want. And I ask them the same questions. So get involved in some kind of long-term team sport, and I say team sport as fighting is included, like I mentioned, because you're surrounded by your training team. Just get involved. That's the biggest thing. I think the biggest thing in life is a lot of people are missing, this is off topic, or maybe not off topic, but a tangent at the end here. Sorry, Alex. I think what a lot of people are missing is a lot of times you just have to go get started, whether it's going to church, whether it's going to jiu-jitsu, whether it's going and playing basketball every Friday at the local Y, or finding those pickup football games. A lot of times you just have to go find that initial contact. Once you find that, you could toy around with everything else, and you'll find good people that way, and you'll get involved in local community, which builds brotherhood. A lot of the times, a lot of the reasons that we separated from this is because we're so online now. There are people that have that sense of community, and they go to church, but it's not a common thing or super common thing anymore to be involved in your local community. So if you want, brotherhood and community involvement, go get involved. A lot of people think there's an easier way to find it because the world's online. It's not the case with everything. You could have 15 people in Discord, and it's not going to feel the same as going and playing sports or getting involved at your local church. Just go get involved. And if you're against religion, cool, fine, whatever. But you could find your own thing. We're so afraid of getting out, and I understand because the world is a shitty place. I get that. But that doesn't mean there's not good people. And there's almost like a logical path of finding decent people, right? You go to find a place that isn't just free willy-nilly activity. You go to find something that has structure. That's why I preach sports and fighting, because there's a structure. These guys are there for a specific purpose. They're not there just bullshit. It's not like you're going and hanging out on the corner. There's probably nothing good happening there. But you go to find a structured place where people have the same goal. You're gonna build community and purpose and brotherhood just over time. It's built by attrition. So that's my spiel on life, I guess. Thanks, Alex, for the questions. I very much appreciate it, brother. Hope this turns out to be a good video for you. And maybe I'll see you guys again soon. Peace.
Big round of applause for Tfish. Thank you, man. Everyone, don't forget to check the description below for the pinned comment to his channel. He is doing incredible work. He's got over 3,000 subs. I was surprised he wanted to do a collaboration with me because, I'm just a little guy. But massive appreciation, my guy. Love to have you back anytime. But I guess it's about time that I go ahead and answer a few more of these questions. Let's see. Question number 4. How many friends do you have, and at what point does a friend cross over into becoming a brother? I personally have a large number of online friends, but in-person friends is very small. I'd say I have about 3 actual IRL in-person friends. And as far as when do they cross over into becoming a brother, I do tend to agree with Tfish on this one. You need shared experiences. It's not exactly a set time frame like, oh, after 6 months I would die for this guy. But more about how well you end up getting to know each other. If you've been through some stuff. If you go through the trenches with somebody, you're going to get a lot closer to them than if they're just your cubicle Carl down the street. You never really know the guy. Now, I'm not saying you have to be in life or death situations or get into shenanigans. But what I am saying is it's more of a vibe. You definitely have to go through some life experiences with the person and see the quality of their character. And if the quality of their character is similar to yours, and you've been together for a certain period of time, whatever that may be, then I would say they go ahead and cross over into being a brother. You trust them, they trust you, you know each other's families, ride or die. Question number 5. What's your longest friendship, and why has it lasted this long? Just because of history or shared interests and goals? My longest friendship is about 20 to 21 years. And I'd say a good chunk of that is shared history. We went through a lot together. We grew up in the same cul-de-sac, but as things happen, my family being military, we ended up moving away. Now, luckily, we stayed friends over Xbox, and we were still able to maintain that friendship over the next few years because we were kids and we didn't have cell phones. But I'd say a good chunk of it is shared history, and another good part is we get along very well and have a great time together. Like Tfish was saying, we have, I'd say, only good days. It's very rare that we ever have a bad day. Now, as far as shared interests and goals go, we have maybe 1 or 2 shared interests, that being COD Zombies and Marvel. But our interests have completely separated, and that's totally fine. You don't have to like all the same things as a buddy and be like, oh, well, we agree on 100% of... No. He likes what he likes, I like what I like. There's a couple things in between, but at the end of the day, we just enjoy each other's company. And shared goals? Not really. We have vastly different goals, and our lives have taken completely different routes. Number 6. As we grow older and time passes, friendships will fade. What are some signs to look out for to know that a friendship will stand the test of time? Well, since I've had a friendship for over 2 decades, or the majority of my life, I've been friends with somebody for almost long enough to raise a kid to the legal drinking age, which is kind of weird to think about. I'd say some of the biggest things to look out for are, 1, if you guys are able to keep in touch. Now, in modern day and age where everybody has cell phones and emails and technology has made it so easy to FaceTime, Skype, whatever it may be, Zoom, it's very easy to keep in touch. But the actual effort of making time to call somebody, text them, check in, or just be like, hey man, I saw this funny meme, thought about that one time, the teacher spat milk out her nose. Something like that. It takes effort, so you got to put in some level of effort. But you don't have to be talking to someone 24/7 to know that you're going to be friends. Like, let's say you go a few months or a year without speaking to somebody, not because of a fight, but life happens. But then when you do reach out, or they reach out, you're able to just rekindle that friendship and pick up where you left off. That's a good sign. On top of that, longevity. If you're friends with someone for about 7 years, I think it's either 7 years or 15 years, the psychologists say you're going to be friends for life. So if you have a few years under your belt with somebody as a friend, and they're not, stabbing you in the back, stealing your girlfriend, or anything ridiculous, you're probably going to end up being friends with them for the rest of your life. And if you have similar interests and hobbies, that's great, but it's more important that you have the good days and bad days, like Tfish was saying. I'm definitely going to be stealing that analogy from now on. Plagiarizing it to the max. But if you enjoy this person's company, you guys get along, whether or not you love the same things isn't as important, but if you can just pick up your friendship here and there, life can get busy, talk to the guy, you're probably going to be able to hang out for decades to come. But I'm going to go ahead and save the rest of the answers for future parts of this miniseries. That way we don't make this an hour or 2 hour long video. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and definitely check out Tfish's channel. He has some amazing work over there. But with that, I'll catch you on the flip side.
Knee deep in zombie shit with no ammo.